TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations. Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, Israeli Foreign Minister Gabi Ashkenazi emphasizes that Iran remains the number one threat to Israel's national security. The United States has suspended its sale of F-35 stealth aircraft to the United Arab Emirates pending a review. German Foreign Minister Heiko Maas insists that while not perfect, the 2015 nuclear agreement with Iran is the best tool to scrutinize Tehran's nuclear ambitions. The Islamic Republic of Iran is the number one threat to Israel's national security. Speaking at the 14th annual conference of the Institute for National Security Studies, Israeli Foreign Minister Gabi Ashkenazi emphasized the need for Jerusalem to make every effort to prevent Iran from attaining nuclear weapon capabilities, while in tandem to force the Ayatollah regime in Tehran to abandon its support for terror actors in the region.
אני חושב שאיראן מייצגת, כשמסתכלים על המציאות האסטרטגית של מדינת ישראל, מייצגת את האיום המרכזי והעיקרי למדינת ישראל, משום שאיראן מקפלת בתוכה בעצם יותר מאיום אחד. האיום המסוכן ביותר, שהוא, אם הוא יתממש, הוא איום קיומי למדינת ישראל, איראן גרעינית, ועלינו לעשות כל מאמץ בכדי למנוע מאיראן להיות גרעינית, ואיראן חותרת לשם. האיום השני הוא כמובן כל תמיכתה בארגונים כמו חמאס, כמו חיזבאללה כמובן, והפצה של טרור, נשק, טכנולוגיה, טילים מתקדמת. לכן אין לי ספק שאיראן צריכה להיות, ואני חושב שהיא כזאת, כך היא גם מוגדרת, במקום הראשון, בכל מה שקשור לביטחון הלאומי של מדינת ישראל.
A day after IDF Chief of General Staff Lieutenant General Aviv Kochavi laid out at the annual INSS conference the Israeli military's strategic overview for 2021, Jerusalem's top diplomat provided his own perspective with regard to steering the Jewish state forward, including vis-a-vis persisting challenges presented by the Ayatollah regime in Tehran.
אני חושב שהמדיניות שלנו צריכה לעמוד על שלוש רגליים. הרגל הראשונה צריכה להיות דיאלוג מקצועי, אינטימי, עם הגדולה בידידות שלנו. ובחדר הזה, שנשב איתם, נצטרך להגדיר את האינטרסים הישראלים, את סדר העדיפויות הישראלי, את הדאגות הישראליות, להגיע להבנה עם ארצות הברית, עם הממשל החדש. הדבר השני, עמוס, אני חושב שאנחנו שנינו מבינים, אולי צריך להסביר לצופים, אנחנו צריכים במקביל לשמור אופציה צבאית אמינה על השולחן. אני בוגר האסכולה שמדינת ישראל בנושאים של איום קיומי צריכה לסמוך על עצמה, כמובן לנסות לגייס את הידידות, אבל ללא אופציה כזאת על השולחן יהיה קשה להגיע להישג. והדבר השלישי, אנחנו צריכים לשכנע גם את ארצות הברית שאיראן גרעינית ואיראן עם חתירתה להגמוניה אזורית היא איום על היציבות ועל הביטחון לא רק של מדינת ישראל, אלא האזור כולו. ובמובן הזה אני חושב שההתפתחויות האחרונות של הסכמי השלום והנורמליזציה מגבירות במידה מסוימת את הקול האזורי, את המשקל של האזור, כשאנחנו נבוא לדבר עם הממשל החדש.
In contrast to the Israeli position, Germany maintains its conviction that the best way to thwart Iran's nuclear ambitions remains the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA, which is the technical term for the 2015 nuclear agreement. In filmed remarks to the INSS conference, Berlin's top diplomat, Heiko Maas, maintains that while the JCPOA is far from perfect, it is the only present tool which provides some additional transparency to activities employed by the Islamic Republic in the nuclear domain.
Tehran's reckless behavior in the past weeks served as a reminder why we must stop the country from ever acquiring a nuclear weapon. The best tool for doing so remains the JCPOA. Although it may be far from perfect, it does give us more transparency than we ever had before.
Minister Mas went on to agree with the Israeli position, which clearly stipulates that the 2015 nuclear document failed to deal with the wide scope of Iran's malign behavior.
I agree with you that this is not enough. We must also address Iran's dangerous missile program and its aggressive regional behavior. But tackling them will be much easier if we first control the nuclear threat to the JCPOA.
Following his remarks to the Israeli National Security Institute, Minister Mas held his first phone conversation with his American counterpart, Antony Blinken. Subsequently, Berlin's top diplomat went on to provide some insight into the contents of their conversation.
Ich habe vielmehr den Eindruck, dass von der Politik Donald Trumps aus den letzten 4 Jahren nicht viel übrig bleiben wird bei einem Präsidenten Joe Biden. Man kann sicherlich nicht erwarten, dass alles rückgängig gemacht wird, aber die ganz zentralen Punkte im transatlantischen Verhältnis, wie die Vereinigten Staaten auf internationaler Bühne agieren, die Rückkehr in das Pariser Klimaabkommen, die Rückkehr in die Weltgesundheitsorganisation, die Bereitschaft, auch wieder in das Nuklearabkommen mit dem Iran zurückzukehren, all das sind fundamentale Veränderungen zu dem, was wir die letzten 4 Jahre.
Turning to Washington, D.C., where U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken held his first briefing to the press, during which he responded to questions on a wide range of topics related to U.S. foreign policy under the Biden administration. Among others, the top American diplomat initially welcomed the so-called Abraham Accords between Israel, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and other Arab or Muslim states, yet emphasized that undisclosed details of the accord, which may contradict U.S. foreign policy under President Joe Biden, are currently under review.
We very much support the Abraham Accords. We think that Israel normalizing relations with its neighbors and other countries in the region is a very positive development, and so we applauded them. And we hope that there may be an opportunity to build on them in the months and years ahead. We're also trying to make sure that we have a full understanding of any commitments that may have been made in securing those agreements, and that's something we're looking at right now.
The undisclosed details evidently relate to arms sales to the United Arab Emirates of sophisticated F-35 stealth aircraft, and separately, a significant deal with Saudi Arabia, which under the Trump administration aimed to provide Washington's Arab Gulf partners advanced military equipment that would consequently deter the Islamic Republic of Iran.
Generally speaking, when it comes to arms sales, it is typical at the start of an administration to review any pending sales, to make sure that what is being considered is something that advances our strategic objectives and advances our foreign policy. So that's what we're doing at this moment.
Responding to a question about the Biden administration's intentions vis-a-vis the 2015 nuclear agreement with Iran, Secretary Blinken reiterated Washington's desire to return to the deal only after the Islamic Republic returns into full compliance.
President Biden has been very clear in saying that if Iran comes back into full compliance with its obligations under the JCPOA, the United States would do the same thing, and then we would use that as a platform to build with our allies and partners what we call a longer and stronger agreement, and to deal with a number of other issues that are deeply problematic in the relationship with Iran. But we are a long ways from that point. Iran is out of compliance on a number of fronts, and it would take some time, should it make the decision to do so, for it to come back into compliance, and time for us then to assess whether it was meeting its obligations. So we're not there yet, to say the least.
In a conversation TV7 held with a senior U.S. official who asked to remain anonymous, she explained that the Biden administration's keen attitude to re-enter the 2015 nuclear agreement is not necessarily about a favorable attitude toward the Ayatollah regime in Tehran. Rather, Washington under President Joe Biden views a multilateral approach toward conflict resolution, engaging with both allies and partners as the best way forward. However, its intention to thwart the Islamic Republic's pursuit of nuclear weapons is of paramount importance, a position also clearly relayed by President Biden's nominee for U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations.
We will work and make every effort to ensure that the Iranians do not gain access to a nuclear weapon. Unfortunately, over the past 4 years, we've seen a tremendous amount of backtracking since we pulled out of the agreement.
While the Biden administration has prioritized its multilateral engagements, including within international institutions, Linda Thomas Greenfield emphasized, once confirmed, her intention to stand up for the State of Israel.
So, if I am confirmed as the U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, I look forward to standing with Israel, standing against the unfair targeting of Israel, the relentless resolutions that are proposed against Israel unfairly.
Thank you for watching us. As part of TV7 Israel's prayer initiative, I would like to encourage you today to join myself and the team here in Jerusalem to lift up Norway once again in prayer for its salvation and peace, alongside prayers for our persecuted brothers and sisters around the world, in addition to our ongoing prayers for the peace of Jerusalem, the salvation of Israel, and for all those who are impacted by the corona contagion and its numerous ramifications worldwide. I'm Jonathan Hassan, wishing you an Erev Tov u'Mevorach, and we will see you again tomorrow at the same time.